I thought I was coming to Italy for a nice little hike in the Dolomites. You know, mountains, pasta, a bit of sweating, nothing too wild. But what I actually found was one of the most breathtaking, chaotic, soul-filling journeys I've ever done on foot. The Alta Via one isn't just a trail, it's a test of your legs, your patience, and occasionally your bladder control. Over 8 days and more than 120 kilometers, I hiked through landscapes that looked too dramatic to be real, slept in remote mountain huts with snorers from 4 different continents, and somehow ate 3-course meals every single night. But here's the thing, a lot of people don't make it to the end. So what makes the Alta Via one so incredible, and why do some hikers quit halfway? That's what I'm here to find out. This is my full story. So with day one officially underway, I took the bus from Cortina to Dobbiaco, and then another bus to Lago di Braies. By 10:30 am I arrived at the lake, along what felt like the rest of Italy. Lago di Braies is absolutely stunning, like a postcard you'd almost assume was photoshopped, until you realize there are hundreds of people also trying to take that same postcard photo. There's a nice path that loops around the lake. It's flat, scenic, and takes about 20 to 30 minutes if you're not stopping every 10 steps to snap another shot, which I absolutely did. There are restaurants, cafes, and even toilets. And yes, you can rent one of those charming wooden rowboats for the low price of your soul and some heroes. Despite the crowds, it's totally worth the detour. Just don't expect solitude, not yet. So this is end of June, I'm doing the Alta Via 1, I'll be doing it in 8 days. Not the 7 I originally planned for, but I think it's going to be more relaxed, just splitting up the first day into 2, so I'm quite happy about that. So today I'll hike only 7 kilometers, but short steep uphill hike of 950 meters to Rifugio, and there I'll chill out, have a lunch, maybe do some side trips while I'm up there. But it just means I can enjoy this first part of the day and just ease into it. It's been a while since I've been in the mountains, so doing proper hiking, so looking forward to this. But I am going to struggle in this heat and this uphill. Let's see how it goes. So yeah, this lake is beautiful. Lake Braies, starting point of the Alta Via, is absolutely gorgeous. You can see why it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but wow, it's busy, lots of people. If you have a car, come here early, try to miss the buses and the crowds, but it is busy. Yeah, anyway, soon be in the mountains away from all this. Alright, here it is. We have to go up there. It's going to be about a 2-hour climb. Let's see how it goes. Eek! Eventually I reached the far end of the lake, and just like that, the crowds disappeared, and the climb began. The uphill starts immediately. No warm-up, no easing, it's just bam, straight into the mountain. It's about 700 meters of elevation over 4 kilometers, under a full-on heat wave. 25 degrees Celsius when I started, and it only got hotter till in mid 30 degrees. By midday I was basically hiking through a pizza oven. The trail is rocky, dusty and completely exposed. But the moment you gain a bit of height, the views start kicking in. And just like that, it starts to feel worth it. Well, climb is no joke, but absolutely gorgeous. Loving it. Whew. But it's a tough climb. Nice with the breeze though. Final stretch to Rifugio was rough. The trail is rocky and uneven with very little shade. I stopped often, mostly to admire the views, but really to stop my lungs from exploding. But for the first time all day, I felt alone, in a good way. No more crowds, just wind, rock and the sound of my own footsteps. The views kept getting bigger, more dramatic. It felt like the Dolomites were finally starting to reveal themselves. Whew, it's been a tough climb, but only like 1.5 kilometers away from Rifugio, Biella. Gonna have a nice lunch when I get there. I think it's about 1:15 now. But yeah, 1.4 k's. Beautiful views. Nice little rest stop at the top of the ridge. The saddle, as they call it. Shouldn't be so steep climbing anymore, just gradual up. Another 200-300 meters, I think. Yeah, great day. It's hot, but not too hot. So really good. Unbelievable views. Unbelievable views. Beautiful. Whew. Feeling it. The legs are tired. I'll grind it out. Ground it out. And that's day one in the books. Just reached the Rifugio Biella. Yeah, so it's a nice tough climb, a little bit rocky underfoot, so made it quite a bit more difficult, but definitely doable. I think it's around 2 o'clock right now, so it took me about 3.5 hours maybe. Took it nice and slow, took a lot of videos, so yeah. Nice spot, time to get some lunch and beers. I arrived at Rifugio Biella around 2 p.m, but check-in only opens at 3. So I grabbed a quick lunch, a beer, sat down and soaked in the views. Not a bad way to kill time, honestly. The check-in was fairly smooth. I got assigned a bunk bed in a shared dorm, paid 70 euros for a half board, and yes, they do accept card here. Small win. You'll need your own sleeping bag liner. They do sell them here, but they will not be cheap. Facilities are basic. There's no shower and only one working toilet, which caused a bit of a morning rush and panic. If you're lucky, the flush will work. If not, well, pretend you're camping. The hut was already pretty full by late afternoon. A few big groups, some chatty hikers, and one guy who took snoring to an Olympic level. The dorm was warm, the bed was a bit short for me, but honestly, I didn't care. Dinner was simple but filling, 2 huge courses and decent wine at a fair price. No dessert though. But then the sun started setting and wow, the views were insane. Jagged peaks bathed in gold light. Honestly, stopping at Biella was the right call. The dorm was fine, but somehow I slept okay. I think my body knew it needed its rest, because tomorrow it will only get harder. I'm glad I started slow. Cutting day 1 in half might have been the best decision I made. The legs are holding up, the gear is all working, I feel good. Day 1 complete, only 7 more to go. So, day 2 of the Alta Via 1. Another beautiful morning. And yeah, first night was quite nice, nice food. But no dessert, so no tiramisu yet for me. And also no showers, which is also not great, so looking forward to a nice shower tonight. Start day 2. Day 2 we'll go to Rifugio Farnes. So today should be around, how much, 14 kilometers and about 500, 600 meter elevation gain. So a bit more of a chill day today, a bit of a longer hike. But I'll stop at a Rifugio for lunch on the way. So it'll be mostly downhill for the most part of today, or flat. And the last part up to Rifugio Farnes will be uphill. Just so many people, so many people. I want to get away from them. So the mission for day 2, start at Rifugio Biella, descend brutally down to Pederu, then climb even more brutally up to Rifugio Farnes. In numbers, about 17 kilometers, 700 meters of ascent and 800 meters of descent, and a solid 5 hours of hiking. All under the Mediterranean's lesser known cousin, the Dolomites heat dome. Whew, it's like 7:45 in the morning, it's really hot. Put some sunscreen on. And then yeah, no showers last night, so I'm a bit stinky today, so not great. Backpacking for the win, right? And my hat is also doing weird things. So last night I had one of those special moments again. He's sitting outside reading a bit of book and just surrounded by mountains. So nice to be back in nature. Surrounded by proper mountains. It's the power of mountains, right? It just inspires you. One of those moments where you just have to slow down and take it all in. It's one of the moments that you live for. Wish I could do this more often, but you know, life is life. You have to work, all these kind of things, and maybe one day I'll have a bit more time for this. But the morning started gently. The trail from Biella to Rifugio Farnes was peaceful, mostly flat with rolling views and not a single tourist in sight. Just me, the mountains, a few marmots whistling in the distance, and the growing realization that my legs would definitely not fully recover from yesterday's climb. I passed a few hikers in the distance, but for the most part it was just me and my thoughts.
I reached Rifugio Center just as most hikers were packing up and heading out. The morning energy was mellow, coffee cups still clinking and backpacks getting strapped on. Quick note for anyone planning their own Alta Via 1 route. If Rifugio Bello was full on day 1, or if you have a little bit more fuel in the tank, you can push on to Rifugio Cenes instead. It's only about 1.5 hours further from Biella and the trail flattens out a bit after the initial climb. Now, Cenes doesn't have the dramatic views of Biella perched on the ridge, but it does have proper toilets, hot showers and a bit more comfortable vibe overall. So if you're the type who prefers a rinse over a ridgeline, that might be your spot.
It's a nice thing about starting early and having a bit of a rest day. You can make little detours. So I'm at, it's 9 o'clock and I'm at Rifugio Cenes. So quite a nice spot as well. If you feel like the day is too short to stop at the Rifugio Biella, you can walk an extra hour, it's about 4 kilometers. Very easy downhill, so after your legs are a bit tired on the first section uphill, and this is a nice recovery spot. So easy to reach this on day 1, another extra hour. I think Rifugio Biella probably had some more amazing views. I mean, the views are still incredible. But yeah, Biella had amazing views. Benefit here, you'll probably get some hot showers. And yeah, like I said, you can get a couple extra kilometers in on the first day. So yeah, you decide.
After soaking in the views near Cenes, it was time for the fun part, the descent into Rifugio Pedro. Well, fun if you enjoy steep, rocky, never-ending downhill punishment on already tender knees. The descent drops about 500 meters over just a few kilometers, which sounds fine on paper, until you're doing the full sun, dodging loose gravel and negotiating your body's refusal to cooperate. I think I passed at least 3 hikers doing the backwards crab crawl descent. Respect. Eventually, after a lot of quad burning and a few muttered swear words, Pedro finally came into view. It nestled down in this wide alpine basin and honestly it looks more like a cozy mountain motel than a refugio. And right now, that mountain motel serves cold beer and lunch. Jackpot. Another note on planning your AV1 route. If you're doing a slightly different route or you want to do a bit longer on day 1, you can also end your day 1 at Rifugio Pedro. That's also a solid option. It's a large refugio at the bottom of a deep valley, so it's more accessible, meaning there's a bit more foot and car traffic and the occasional Dolomites shuttle bus zipping through. But it's well run, the food is great, and there is a terrace views of massive cliffs towering overhead. Just expect a busier, less remote feel, kind of a Dolomites base camp with perks. So yeah, a little route flexibility goes a long way. Just make sure wherever you end up has beer. That's the real priority.
Well, made it to the lunch stop a little bit early, just before 11. Rifugio Detour. Very nice spot in between the mountains, beautiful views. But there's a car park here. It's not remote in the mountains, so people can get directly with car, with buses. So it's going to be quite busy. And I must say, the second part of the downhill coming down from the previous Rifugio was quite steep. So guys, if you're going the other way, it's going to be rough.
Grabbed some food, a crisp cold beer and sat under an umbrella like I just returned from war. I knew the worst was still to come, the infamous Pedro to find us uphill, but for now I was happy, hydrated and mildly sunburned.
Oh, a nice little stop. Beer, cappuccino, toasty. But now we are up for the climb of the day. 500 to 600 meters, about 6 kilometers, and then we are there. So yeah, let's do this. It's gonna be a bit warm.
After a glorious lunch at Rifugio Peru, I knew I had one job left: climb. From here to Rifugio Farnes is about 4.8 kilometers with over 500 meters of elevation gain. On paper that sounds doable, but in reality it was hot, it was exposed. The trail basically looked at me and said, "Oh, you just had beer, cute, let's fix that." It starts with this long relentless jeep road, gravelly, dry, zero shade, the kind of uphill that makes you question your life choices and count every corner like prisoner marking the days. I passed a few other hikers doing the classic rest and sip, pretend you fine move. We bonded in mutual suffering, the universal language of uphill hikers. But slowly, surely the trail began to level out, and just like that, Rifugio Farnes appeared like an oasis. A proper alpine hut with cold drinks, wooden deck chairs, and spoiler, hot showers. Glory!
Here we go, day 2 done. Rifugio Farnes. Would have been my stop on the first day, but yeah, glad I split it up into 2. The last climb was quite hot. Took me about an hour and a half, but yeah, it was steep and warm. Looking forward to nice ice cold beer. Hopefully I got some nice showers as well. Let's take a look.
I arrived at Rifugio Farnes around 2:30 p.m. and let me tell you, it felt like crossing the finish line. The hut just sort of appears, nestled in the wide, open alpine bowl with a huge wooden terrace, chilled hikers, and mostly important cold beverages. The first order of business, check-in. They were super friendly, spoke great English, and yes, they take card, which was a small miracle. I was assigned another bunk bed because apparently I'm doing the Sleepover with Strangers tour of Dolomites. Luckily the room was spacious and the vibe was much calmer than the previous night. The half-board here costs around 75 euros and is worth every cent. That includes your bed, hot shower, yes included, and dinner and breakfast. I parked myself in a chair, grabbed a book I probably won't finish, and let the afternoon melt away. I ended up chatting to a few lovely families, including some from the US. It's amazing how here conversation flows as easily as beer. No one cares where you come from, what you do, it's just trail talk, food pain, food recommendations, and what's the Wi-Fi password. Dinner at Rifugio Farnes is served at 7 p.m. sharp, and this time it was a full 3-course meal, including dessert, thank the heavens. And honestly, it might have been one of the best meals of the entire trip. Huge portions, great flavors, and the wine wasn't half bad either. That might have been just the altitude talking. After dinner, I stepped outside to catch the golden hour. The whole mountain bowl was bathed in the soft, warm light that made everything and everyone look like it belonged in a postcard. There's something about evenings at the Rifugio, the hum of tired voices, boots off, dogs napping under benches, and it's kind of magical. Peaceful but earned. I wandered off to a little lake nearby just as the lights started to fade, thinking maybe I'd have a moment of serenity. Instead, I made an army of mosquitoes that nearly mistook me for their buffet. So that moment was brief. Then it was back inside, into my bunk bed, which once again came with the delightful bonus of a snorer. You win some, you lose some. At least I was clean, fed, and a little sunburnt, which is basically the trail version of living your best life. Day 2 of the Alta Via 1 is done. 17 kilometers, nearly 700 meters of elevation, a beer and possibly permanent mosquito trauma. But I'll do it all over again, just maybe with less cotton and more bug spray. After a sweet breakfast and a strong Italian coffee, it was time to pack up, put on my very stylish dusty shoes and hit the trail. Today's mission is Rifugio Farnes to Rifugio Dibona, around 19 kilometers with 1,200 meters of elevation gain. The day began with a short but steep uphill. The trail opened up into this ridiculously beautiful valley, wide, open green and surrounded by those signature Dolomite giants. Honestly, this first stretch, about 5 kilometers of gentle rolling gravel, might be one of the most peaceful and scenic parts of the entire Alta Via 1. Later I passed some cows and even a few horses that were so well camouflaged I had to double take. They looked like they belonged to a landscape. This valley stretch was calm, meditative and deceptively easy, but of course, in classic Dolomite fashion, the mountain had other plans.
First section of the trail was beautiful, 5 kilometers, absolutely stunning, through a valley, nice cows and horses and beautiful views, probably the most beautiful section of the trail so far. But yeah, now I need to go up this trail, up this hill, the first one of the day, out of the two, about 500 meters, so yeah, let's get started.
All easy things eventually come to an end, and sure enough, the first proper uphill of the day appeared on the horizon. About 300 meters of elevation gain, rocky and exposed, but still kind on the legs compared to what was still coming. I took my time climbing, stopping often, not because I was tired of course, but because the views were just that good. The trail hugged the mountainside, slowly revealing layers of peaks behind me and new valleys ahead. The pass felt wild and remote, and honestly, I didn't want it to end. But then it was time for the main event, a steep, over 600 meter ascent to the pass. This was the climb of the day, and I felt it. It was hot, the terrain was rough, the air got thinner, and my lungs, well, they had a lot to say. Reaching the top felt like a victory. The reward, a 360-degree panorama of where I'd come from, and where I was heading. Behind me, an endless valley. Ahead of me, the kind of jagged landscape that makes you feel very, very small. And right below, a shimmering alpine lake, our next destination. But first, the descent. And it was steep, rocky and relentless. Trekking poles came in very handy here. Do not forget them. At the bottom, I dropped my pack and exhaled. The lake was peaceful, the views were soothing, and my packed lunch for Rifugio Fanas, around 10 euros, tasted decent. Okay, it was slightly dry. But that view, Michelin star. This was one of those moments on a hike where everything just clicks.
That first climb was nice and tough. Probably about 500 meters in total. I went through a little saddle there. Unbelievable views on this day. It's just between Fanes and Lugazoi. There's one part you want to do, this is the day. It is stunning. Having lunch at this beautiful lake. Yeah, have a packed lunch, which wasn't the best, but at least it's a good break. Just cooling off because I have another big climb coming up. So I have to decide if I'm going to go all the way to Lugazoi to see what's going on there, or if I just carry on ahead. The reason why I'm thinking that is I can see the clouds gathering. There might be a bit of rain from 2 o'clock. So let me see after another about 2 hours climb of hills, see how it is up there, and then I'll decide from there. But yeah, great day. Let's do it.
Eventually, it was time to move again. The next stretch started with a rocky uphill that was fully exposed, and just as I began climbing, the sun decided to turn things up to an 11. No shade, no breeze, just raw sunlight bouncing off rock like an oven. Honestly, this was one of my least favorite parts of the day. I was so focused on getting through the heat that I barely noticed some of the World War I ruins along the way. We passed actual remnants of stone barracks and lookout points carved into the mountains, but in that moment, survival came first. Eventually I made it to the section where you can turn off to Rifugio Lugazoi, the highest Rifugio on the entire Alta Via 1. It's perched on a staggering 2,752 meters, famous for its panoramic views and dramatic sunset skies. As I stood there looking at the trail leading up to it, and the steep switchbacks didn't exactly look inviting. But here's the kicker, there's a cable car. I mean, after spending the day crawling up rocks like Gollum, that sounds like cheating in the best way. Tickets are around 16 euros one way or 24 euros return, and of course dogs ride free, which is quite a nice perk. And trust me, when I came back a week later by gondola, it was 3 degrees Celsius and snowing. During the hike, it was over 30 degrees Celsius and sunny. That's mountain weather for you. As for the Rifugio itself, it's beautiful. There's a sunny terrace with the kind of views you want to freeze frame forever. Clean dorms and rooms, a warm shower. You can even explore the World War I trenches and tunnels right nearby. It's like hiking through history. So if you're short on time or just want to hit the highlights, Lugazoi is an amazing place to start or finish your Alta Via adventure. Just bring a jacket or two. With Lugazoi behind me, both literally and emotionally, I pressed on along the main Alta Via 1 trail. The rain started gently, just a little drizzle at first, but combined with the dramatic grey clouds, it gave the mountains a totally different character. Moody, gritty, cinematic. This stretch was peaceful and quiet. I passed a few more World War I monuments and even some tunnels carved into the cliffs. If you have time and a headlamp, you can explore them. Just know that they're not for claustrophobic. Eventually the terrain softened and the trail wound down towards Rifugio Dibona. The landscape started to feel more alpine meadows again, open, gentle and inviting.
a long technical downhill, very slippery. Thunderstorms above you. You're almost there. 300 meters. I don't know if I can grab a beer or something. Yeah, it's just stunning day though. Jeez, this is like so far the best day. And one of the better days I've had in all my trips really. So if you want to do a piece of the Dolomites, yeah, this piece between Fanes and Lucas Way even yet at the Rifugio I'm going now as well. I think it's stunning. I mean, every second has been beautiful. Some exposed sections that was very hot. It's been nice now with the clouds to cool it off a bit. But yeah, stunning day, one for the books. And now trying to recover and prep for tomorrow, the long day. Over 25 kilometers, 1400 meters elevation gain. Yeah, from Dibona all the way to Staulanza. It's going to be a long day. Anyway, I'll start nice and early and yeah, take it a step at a time. And come look at those views. It's pretty epic.
And then I saw it, Rifugio Dibona, perched just below the towering peaks with a big wooden deck calling my name. And let me tell you, what a place to end the day. Nestled at the foot of the Fana di Roses, this Rifugio is like something out of an alpine dream. Wooden beams, flower boxes, a giant sunny terrace with a front row view of the Dolomites, and best of all, dessert and beer waiting for me. I plopped down, kicked off the dusty boots, grabbed a cold one and a slice of cake, and just sat there like a man who just made it. Now, Dibona isn't as high up or remote as some of the other huts, but that actually makes it one of the most accessible and comfortable. You can even drive right up to it via gravel road from Cortina, which makes it a popular base for climbers, day hikers and photographers chasing the golden hour. Dinner was one of the best of the trip, a proper 3-course feast. I went for the ravioli with butternut squash and sage butter, which may or may not have made me emotional. I woke up in the dark somewhere around 5 am, not because I'm a morning person, but because I had over 26 kilometers ahead of me and apparently a storm in the afternoon menu. Rifugio Dibona was quiet, everyone else was still cocooned in their sleeping bags while I was outside. The air was cool, the sky was perfectly clear, and for a moment everything felt still. Just me, the mountains and the crunch of my boots on the gravel.
Morning, day 4 of the Alta Via 1. It's an early start for me this morning. It's now about 5:30. The reason, this is my longest day. It's going to be over 25 kilometers. It's about 1400 meters elevation gain, so it's going to be a long day. So giving myself some extra time. But it's actually pretty amazing being up this early, no other people. It rained out last night, so it's nice clear skies right now, beautiful views. Yeah, I think it's worth it even having to have such a basic breakfast. Shame that the Rifugios was put together for me. But yeah, cold coffee and some bread and cheese basically. So, but this is why you're here for the breakfast, right? Dinner last night was very good. I think it's probably the best dinner I've had so far. But yeah, I got stuck into a room share with a nice old man, Italian old man, but wow. Beds were making a lot of noise, he was snoring, so it wasn't the greatest, so not the best sleep. But otherwise, I mean, showers were good, clean bathrooms, nice restaurant, beautiful views. It rained a lot last night, a big thunderstorm came through. Anyway, I've got a lot of hours to walk today and looking forward to it. Day 4, let's do this. Gosh, what a beautiful morning. I can even hear the birds waking up. Stunning. Oh, the sun through the trees. Nice little forested section, a little bit of steep downhill. Yeah, great start to the morning. Soon I'll be reaching the big uphill, and then it's going to be a couple of hours of just up. It's going to be fun.
The first hour was quite gentle, a flat forest trail and birdsong. That kind of peaceful makes you forget you're about to be physically dismantled by a mountain pass.
Wow, this is so strange. I haven't seen an actual road in like 3.5 days. There we go, the road. That probably means it's the start of the climb coming up soon. So let me get prepared. It's now not even 7 o'clock yet, so people haven't even started doing breakfast. So yeah, making pretty good time. Let's do this.
But all peaceful things must come to an end. Around 7 AM I hit a paved road and spotted the sign Parco Natural delle Dolomiti de Ampezzo, which translated loosely meaning here comes the uphill. The gradient started sneaking in. Nothing too crazy at first. I was moving well, breathing steady. Confidence 8 out of 10. Knees 10 out of 10. Breakfast satisfaction still 1 out of 10. Then the trees opened up and bam, those classic Dolomiti views just punched me in the face. Jagged peaks on all sides, golden morning light pouring over everything like I was walking through a desktop wallpaper. And then, out of nowhere, there was Rifugio Cinquetori, perched just behind the legendary towers he's named after. Absolutely picture perfect. I rounded the corner and thought, yeah, I earned a second breakfast. Inside, coffee, hot this time, a slab of cake and a Coke. I wasn't messing around. This was breakfast number 2, and emotionally, I needed this. This is also a great spot for day hikers. You can reach it by trail or gondola. Yep, there's a gondola not far from here. I glanced at it lovingly and thought to myself, why did I not use this? Fueled by sugar and caffeine, I left Cinquetori behind and started climbing again. This time towards Rifugio Avaro, perched even higher like some kind of mountaintop mirage. The path was steeper now, the kind of steep that makes you question your life choices and wonder if you really needed that Coke. I was panting, sweating, grinning, because the views were just getting outrageous. Like every 10 steps I had to stop and whisper, "You gotta be kidding me, right?" And just when my legs were about to file an official complaint, boom, there it was, Rifugio Avaro. This place is known for its food, I mean, really no. I wasn't going to test that too hard though, just a light second breakfast, some cookies, another coffee, and yeah, you guessed it, another Coke. Honestly, I could have stayed here all day, but thunderclouds don't care about your biscotti break, so off I went. Apparently this is also a very nice stop on the AV1, so if you can book this Rifugio and it fits into your schedule, do it.
Yeah, well, there we go. Biggest climb of the day done. I'm at Rifugio Avero, I think it's called. Oh, just went past the Trucantori region. It's beautiful mountains surrounded. There's also a gondola up here, so if you want to have a quicker way up here, that's a good way to go. A couple of refugios up here and also a couple of lunch spots, so I'll grab a cup of coffee and then move on.
From here, the trail did something a bit unexpected. It went down. Like steep and technical, and should I have brought climbing gear kind of down. It was the first time on the trip I actually felt nervous. Loose gravel, jagged rock, tiny switchbacks, and a sheer drop on one side. No fences, no warning signs, just your own common sense and hopefully trekking poles. This was not the time for clumsy ankles. I didn't film much here, not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't risk becoming a YouTube fall sensation. One slip and it would have been a very different kind of viral video. Eventually it started to level out again. My breathing normalized, I unclenched my entire body, I was back in flow. After surviving the sketchy descent and regaining full control of my legs, the trail began to widen and flatten. I started seeing more people, families, day hikers, clean socks. Civilization was creeping back in. And then, like a movie set revealing behind the curtain, I arrived at Passo Gal.
That was quite a technical section. Very, very slippery and very rocky. No real path at some points. So after Avero, just watch your step. It's a bit technical, go slow, take care of yourself. It's getting quite hot now. It's after 11 o'clock. And I see another busy spot in front here. Maybe it's time for an early lunch. Not sure how many other spots I'll have. So let's take a break quickly, have a quick sandwich and something to drink. And then motor on. Beautiful though. Jeez, look at that.
This place is famous for a reason. The views are just absurd. Towering peaks in every direction. The light hitting the grass like it's been pre-approved by Hollywood. It was around midday and the scene was buzzing. Hikers, bikers, photographers setting up tripods like they were prepping for a National Geographic shoot. And there I was, sweaty, tired, and oddly hungry again. So naturally I did what every hiker does after over 15 kilometers. I got a cake and yeah, another Coke. Fast forward almost a week later, I came back to Passo Gal by car, exploring with the neta, and realized something wild. I've actually already been here. I'd already sat on this exact table, eaten the same cake, had the same Coke, full on deja vu, but in hiking boots.
So funny. Almost a week ago, I think on day 4 of the Alta Via, I actually walked past here and stopped at this Rifugio to have a quick lunch in the shade. And we stopped now to look at Passo Gal and marvel at all the nice scenery, and actually walked right past it the other day. So anyway, pretty cool. Anyway, get to see it in a different angle and a different light and a bit more relaxed. So very nice.
Leaving Passo Gal behind, the crowds thinned out. The road noise faded with just me and the mountains again. The trail lulled me into a relatively gentle start. Rolling green hills, silence, a few birds chirping. I started thinking, maybe this day won't be that bad after all. Famous last thoughts, because then came another massive climb. My legs were already toast. I'd already hiked close to 20 kilometers by now.
Whew, another beautiful day, my goodness. It's a pity I'm rushing and not spending more time in this area. but there's a bit of a thunderstorm behind me. I'm just ahead of it. So let's see if I can push through another 1.5 to 2 hours and see if I can make it. If I can make it to Staulanza, Rifugio. But it's been an amazing day, so beautiful. A couple of nice pit stops. But yeah, it's a long day. Probably about 18-19 kilometers in now, so another 6 kilometers or so to go. So at least the major hills are done, so it's mostly downhill from now. So let's see how it goes, see if I can stay ahead of this thunderstorm behind me. Otherwise rain gear. Around 3 o'clock I think they had a forecast of heavy rain coming down, so but ahead of me is some blue sky, so see if I can make it there.
And that's when I heard it, thunder, far off but getting closer. So I started power hiking. I was alone on the trail again, checking the sky every 30 seconds, willing my legs to move faster. And like a miracle, boom, the Rifugio appeared through the trees, not a mirage, not the rock-shaped coffee shop, a real glorious mountain hut. I basically sprinted in with a few other soaked hikers and collapsed into the nearest chair. My reward, a hot meal, cold beer, and 45 minutes of thunder rumbling around while we all bonded in soggy solidarity. Once the storm passed and set off for the final leg, about 3 kilometers to go. And then, like an oasis with espresso and heating, Rifugio Staulanza appeared through the trees, a beacon of warmth, a promise of clean socks. Except my body, completely done. My legs were two tired tree trunks, my shoulders were in open rebellion, even my trekking poles seemed annoyed. I dropped my bag like it was a bad habit and sank into a chair on the terrace. Dinner that night, a 3-course masterpiece. Pasta so good it felt illegal. I even splurged on laundry because frankly my socks had started to grow personalities.
Wow, the day 4 is done, the long one. 26 kilometers later, almost 10 hours. Yeah, it was a long day. It's good I started early. Was trying to outrun a storm. Did not work. Luckily there was a Rifugio there quite close, so yeah, the lightning started hitting and the thunderstorm started hitting all over the place, so everyone just ducked into the Rifugio and tried to, stay away. So I spent there for 45 minutes just waiting for the worst to pass, and then made my way the last 3 kilometers to Staulanza, Rifugio Staulanza. It's right next to a road, so not as remote as some of the other ones, but still has some beautiful views of mountains, so pretty good. There's some nice services, get some laundry done, and then you have saunas and wellness centers and hot tubs and all these kind of things. So yeah, it's a pretty good stop. Tomorrow I'll make my way to Vazzoler. So probably going to be about a 16-17 kilometer hike tomorrow. A little bit shorter than today. My legs are feeling it. Yeah, it's an incredible day. I wish I had more time to enjoy the views, but yeah, the storm came in. I had to rush it a little bit, but yeah, what an amazing trip. Alta Via 1, day 4 wrap.
After yesterday's 26-kilometer thunder-fueled epic, I woke up with legs that felt like overcooked spaghetti. But the only way forward on the Alta Via 1 is forward. So I dragged myself out of bed, laced up my trail-worn shoes and hit the trail once more.
Alright, day 5 of the Alta Via 1. Not as long as yesterday, about 17 kilometers today. So hopefully we'll survive. Tomorrow and the day after will be a bit shorter, so that's nice. Today making my way to Rifugio Vazzoler, and yeah, this Rifugio was quite nice. They've kitted out quite nicely, so a lot of stuff inside to buy, sunscreen, t-shirts, everything. So I had a nice laundry stop as well. And if you're a bit earlier, you can also do a bit of a hot tub and wellness center. So well worth it. It's on the road, but still a very nice view of the mountains. Yeah, let's get started.
The morning started quietly, a peaceful forest path filled with tall trees and soft light. It was shady, serene, and suspiciously flat. A nice reprieve, but let's be honest, we all know what that means. A climb was coming, but before that, I soaked up the cool morning air and the quiet. No sweeping views just yet, but sometimes the trail gives you that space just to reset. And after day 4, I needed that. A little while later, I popped out at Rifugio Favera, conveniently right next to a road. And look, when you see civilization and ice-cold drinks in the mountains, you have to stop. Yes, I had a Coke, and no, this wouldn't be my last one for the day. This was one of those hydrate or overheat dramatically kind of mornings. Favera is more of a pit stop than a mountain heaven, right next to the road, easy to access and perfect for grabbing a drink just before the climb. With a Coke in my belly and the heat on my back, I left Favera and immediately regretted not freezing myself overnight. The trail turned into a long, exposed gravel road, a 650-meter uphill. No trees, no shade, no mercy. At first, it was kind of manageable, wide and steady, but as I climbed, it narrowed into a single track. And just when my legs started reminding me of yesterday's 26 kilometers, the incline said, "Hey, remember me?" But slowly, step by sweaty step, the views began to shift and saw a tiny cluster of buildings perched high on a ridge. Rifugio Coldai, my lunch stop, my salvation.
That was tough. Never been so happy to see the Rifugio. Lunchtime.
Yes, I spotted it. Rifugio Coldai, perched high on a ridge at 2,132 meters. A remote scenic gem, and most importantly, I had sandwiches, water and shade. By the time I reached Rifugio Coldai, my legs were somewhere between spaghetti and please call a helicopter. It was around 11:30 am, the sun was relentless and I was desperate for a break. Rifugio itself, absolutely worth the climb. Perched high above the valley with views that make you forget how sweaty you are, just for a second. They do accept card here, which is a blessing, because at this point I'd trade a kidney for hydration. I took refuge inside from the wind and the blazing sun. While I was there, I saw a lot of day hikers packing up takeaway lunches. I didn't get it at the time, but about 20 minutes later, I understood.
Well, that Rifugio was a much needed stop after a brutal climb in the heat. It was nice and quiet in the beginning for 20 minutes, and now just before 12 it gets very busy, so try to time it if you can, but it's getting to peak now. Alright, so let's carry on.
I reached the crest of the pass, looked down, and there it was. Lago Coldai, one of the most beautiful alpine lakes I've ever seen. Bright blue, framed by rugged cliffs, like something out of a fantasy film. And that's why people were taking their lunches to go, because this was the place to sit, eat and soak in the magic. I had to stop. Not stopping here felt like a crime against nature. So I dropped my pack, found a flat rock and sat in silence, just me, the lake, and about 100 other tourists scattered around the lake. So, pro tip, grab your lunch to go from Rifugio Coldai and eat it at Lago Coldai. It's one of the best lunch views on the entire Alta Via 1. Leaving the lake behind, I followed the trail as it snaked across the rocky terrain. This part of the hike felt like something out of a movie. Snow patches crunched underfoot, narrow pathways hugging mountain walls, and the Dolomites towering dramatically on either side. The views were just next level. Every corner I turned revealed something even more ridiculous than the last. But let's not romanticize it too much. My legs were toast. The uphill grind from earlier was catching up to me fast, and I was now in that weird state of tired where you start talking to your trekking poles for moral support. The trail was mostly gentle with a few sneaky uphill stings, but the views made up for every single groan. In the distance I could see the valleys below and mountain villages tucked away like dollhouses. The exposure to the sun was still real though. No cover out here, just you, the heat, and your dwindling supplies of gummy bears.
Feeling a bit tired today. Climb after climb. What's this, day 5? Yeah, no, it's a lot of elevation today. A bit tired after yesterday's long day. Hopefully less than 2 hours. That'll be done for the day. I wonder how many more uphills there are. Let's do this. And there we go. Day 5 of Alta Via 1 done. Up ahead is Rifugio Vazzoler. It was a good 17 kilometers today. Very warm again. But no rain, no thunder this time around, so that's a blessing. And for this Rifugio you have to pay separate for a shower, which I'll do gladly. An extra €3. And apparently they only accept cash. So if you want to come to this one, remember your cash, but it's in the emails as well. So yeah, another beautiful day surrounded by mountains. First bit was a bit of a slog, but yeah, second half of the day was beautiful. But yeah, thirsty. Need an ice cold drink again. So tomorrow will be a bit shorter, around 11 kilometers. And someone special might be joining me, so stay tuned for that.
Eventually, after weaving between boulders and descending through sparse forests, I caught the first glimpse of Rifugio Vazzoler, tucked away in the trees like a secret mountain hideout. It felt remote, quiet, almost sacred. No roads, no cars, no gondolas, just hikers who had earned their stay. The final stretch was mercifully flat, and as I stepped into the courtyard, I could finally let my tired legs know it was over. For today at least. The Rifugio itself had a rustic charm, with jaw-dropping views of jagged peaks right from the front steps. The kind of place where even your sweat feels poetic. I grabbed a cold drink, well, lukewarm, they didn't have ice, due to limited water supply. Took a seat and just exhaled. Facilities were basic, but charming. No card payments, so bring cash. Hot showers? Yes, if you can buy a token. Ice in your drinks? Nope. Water is limited here. The meal was fine, not the best I've had on the trail, but hey, meatballs are meatballs, and dessert is sacred. Especially when it's your first tiramisu in Italy. I ended that evening outside, chatting with some fellow hikers, swapping trail stories while the sun slowly dipped behind the peaks. Now, just a heads up, a lot of people choose to hike a bit further to Rifugio Tissi, perched dramatically above the Coldai lake. It's said to offer some of the best panoramic views on the entire Alta Via 1, especially at sunset. But here's the catch, it comes with an extra uphill climb. The trail forks towards Rifugio Tissi just after descending from Lago Coldai, before heading down into the forest section. Taking this fork will add about 200 meters of elevation and about an hour worth of hiking. For me, Rifugio Vazzoler felt just right. More remote, peaceful, and with views that were honestly hard to beat.
You know, like
Alta Via 1, day 6. Another beautiful morning. Quick little breakfast here. Today, going to Passo Duran. Short day, apparently 11 kilometers, but of course, like always, there's a bit of a climb. But before that, I'm going to make a detour to a Rifugio about 2-3 kilometers away and meet someone else. So yeah, excited for that. So let's get started.
I left Rifugio Vazzoler just after breakfast. The sun was shining, the air was crisp, and I thought, this is going to be a chill day. But instead of following the usual Alta Via 1 route, I took a detour. A less traveled trail that was supposed to be easy. Spoiler, it wasn't. Eventually, the trail opened up, and there it was. A wide rocky river with a waterfall crashing nearby, like nature's own checkpoint. I picked my way across the bridge, legs tired and shirt even sweatier. But then, I saw the Rifugio I was aiming for, and right next to it, someone waving.
You made it! You made it!
Aneta had flown in from Rotterdam just to join me for the last 3 days of the hike. Pretty epic, right? We hugged, we laughed, and immediately sat down for coffee and cake, because that's what reunions are for. After a short break, it was time to earn that cake. We started to climb back up the gravel road for about an hour to rejoin the main Alta Via 1. Bridges, streams, and shade made it bearable. Kind of. But Aneta, she powered through like a champ. Eventually we reached the trail again and the forest swallowed us up. Soft earth underfoot, cool air, and those glimpses through the trees that make you stop mid-step. And just like that, the Dolomites started revealing themselves again, this time through Aneta's eyes. Seeing her react to it all reminded me just how special this place really is. Just when we thought we settled into a rhythm, the trail decided otherwise. The path turned rocky, narrow and twisty. Suddenly we weren't hiking, we were navigating. Hands on rocks, poles out in front, eyes scanning for red and white trail markers. And of course, right on cue, the sun decided to go full furnace. Overhead, unrelenting, turning the mountainside into a slow-cooked oven. Welcome to the Dolomites, Aneta. We took it slow, kept sipping water and focused on one step at a time. The views were incredible, but we were definitely earning them. After a long stretch of rocky ups and sweaty switchbacks, we finally made it. Rifugio Carestato, perched high on the plateau with views that felt like a reward for surviving a sauna in hiking boots. We dropped our packs, grabbed 2 cold drinks and just sat. Silence, mountains. That kind of quiet you only get when you truly earned it. At this point we only had about 3 kilometers to go, so we let the time slow down. Eventually, we packed up and hit the trail again. Luckily, the final stretch was merciful. Flat, scenic and shaded, a gentle goodbye from the mountains after the earlier chaos. We slowed our pace, took in the views and just talked. about the trail, about life, about how good it felt to be exactly here. Every now and then the trees would open up and the Dolomites would remind us how small we are and how lucky. As we rounded the last bend, the trees opened up and there it was, Rifugio San Sebastiano, sitting quietly just off the road, framed by darkening clouds. It's not the most remote Rifugio, but after the day we had, it looked like heaven.
That's it. Day 6 of the Alta Via 1 is done at Rifugio San Sebastiano. It was surprisingly a difficult day, actually the most technical day of the trip so far. So even though they say 11 kilometers, it is quite slow going with all the rocks and the navigation, so beware. Take your time, be safe. My day was a bit longer. I went down to meet Aneta, as we've seen already, and it was really nice to see her. So we added additional 3-4 kilometers to our day and some elevation, but still a freaking amazing day. So nice to share the last 3 days with her. So yeah, good day, happy man.
We checked in and somehow scored the jackpot, a private room with our own bathroom. After 6 days of shared dorms, this felt like cheating, the good kind. The room was simple but spotless, with big windows that looked out over the mountains. There was even a towel, an actual towel. We headed straight to the terrace with a couple of cold drinks, books in hand. The view wasn't panoramic like some of the other huts, but the peace unmatched. A stillness in the air, the kind you feel just before a storm rolls in. Sure enough, by late afternoon the clouds gathered and the wind picked up. We moved inside just as the rain started tapping the windows. Dinner was, well, let's just say it wasn't the highlight. Basic and bland, and I didn't finish. Probably the least exciting meal of the trip. But we were warm, dry, and had a door we could close behind us, and no snorers. That alone was worth it. For a lot of hikers, Rifugio San Sebastiano marks the end of the Alta Via 1 journey. The Rifugio sits near a road, making it one of the last easy exit points before the trail becomes more remote, rugged, and frankly, less traveled. Some choose to stop here after 6 days, satisfied with the highlights up north. Others might be short on time or energy, or just ready for a hot shower and a proper meal. And I get it. If you're going to tap out, this is a pretty dignified place to do it. But for us, the journey wasn't over. With Aneta now by my side, we were heading into the lesser known, wilder southern stretch of the Alta Via 1.
Alta Via 1, day 7, second last day. We had a private room. Got the little special person here with me that joined me yesterday. Really hot and technical day yesterday, was very nice. Today's supposed to be a short day, 11 kilometers. First bit on the road, but
the same yesterday.
we had a bit of a detour, right? So let's, today's hopefully short. We'll hopefully be there by lunchtime and then just chill the rest of the day. So let's get started. On the way to Rifugio Pramperet.
Day 7, 11.5 kilometers, 700 meters of elevation gain. Should be easy, right? That's what I told myself while putting on my slightly damp from yesterday's socks. We woke up to another perfect Dolomites morning. Clear skies, cool air, and not a snorer in earshot. After a quick breakfast, we packed up and settled, straight onto a road. Not the most epic start, but honestly, the peace and the quiet were unreal. This is where a lot of hikers call it quits. They finish the Alta Via 1 right here. And while I respect the choice, they're missing out. A few kilometers in, we were joined by the true trail owners, a herd of cows who clearly didn't care about any trail etiquette or personal space. Eventually, we ducked off the road and into a shaded forest, still cool and still fresh. Birds chirping, soft dirt underfoot, and sunlight streaming through the trees. Honestly, it was kind of magical. We knew the heat was coming, but for now we just enjoyed the calm and the cows.
such a poser.
The forest trail continued for a while. Cool, peaceful, with just enough incline to remind you that you're technically hiking.
Nice little relaxing hike. Feels a bit different from the rest of the days of the Alta Via. Nice and shaded. Through the woods. Definitely feels more like a rest day today, which is welcomed. It was very hot and quite difficult the last couple of days, in the sense where it was hot and rocky. So this is actually very, very nice, very pleasant. But yeah, it's second last day of the Alta Via. I miss this region.
We followed gentle ups and downs for the next couple of kilometers. Some parts were so smooth and mossy it honestly felt more like the Luxembourg than the Dolomites. But the Dolomites, they're never that chill for long. Eventually trail opened up, the trees disappeared, and suddenly, boom, we were right under the full sun. No shade, no mercy. But the views, absolutely ridiculous. But so was the heat. And just like that, our peaceful forest walk turned into a low-key game of find the trail across a rocky landscape. Markers were there, somewhere, and navigation got a little spicy.
Lunch break. We need a break. Something about a rest day that makes it feel longer. Your brain is saying like, it's going to be short, but then it's not. And it takes forever. She's a mountain girl. She's keeping me on my toes. So yeah, I mean, it feels long, but it's not actually long. It's only 11 o'clock now. So we'll be done around about 1 o'clock. One little climb really left, and then...
You think?
Yeah, there's a climb left. Yeah.
I mean, you think in 1 hour or?
No, about 2 hours. Yeah, it's 11 now. We'll be done by 1. I think about 2 hours. Go nice and slow. Pole. That's the trick. Still a beautiful walk. I'm not sure. There's for some reason a lot of people stopped at the last Rifugios and they finished their trek there. I'm not sure why. No one could give me really a reason. I thought maybe because the trail won't be as nice, but I mean, mountains, many mountains. And forest. So it's actually a beautiful section. So I'm not sure why people are stopping. If anyone knows, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, beautiful day. Soon we'll be at the Rifugio. Have some nice lunch. Hopefully a bit better than last night. I must say, oh yeah, Rifugio review. Last night, probably the nicest guy working behind the counter. He was very cute. We got a private room, so those are the benefits. Own shower, own bathroom. Very, very nice. But yeah, the food was not great. I didn't even finish my food. Breakfast this morning was okay. So hopefully, Aneta will experience a proper Italian dish at the next place. Proper half board. And hopefully, we're hoping for some proper vegetarian or proper ravioli tonight. Or gnocchi. So yeah. Anyway, on to lunch and get some good food. Well, at the lunch stop there, I seem to have been bitten by a tick at the back of my arm. So that was just now a medical procedure to try to remove that. I'll have to double check later if everything has been removed, but back tweezers, guys, just in case. You never know when you need them.
After what felt about like 12 hours in a convection oven, we finally re-entered the forest. Shade, glorious shade. But before we got too excited, the humidity said, hi. It was like walking into a steam room with hiking boots. Still, we weren't complaining. We'd missed trees and our skin appreciated the break from the UV aggression. The trail curved along the side of the mountain, opening up to some of the most beautiful views we'd seen all day. You know, the kind that make you stop mid-step and go, yep, worth it.
And that's it. Day 7 of Alta Via 1 done and dusted. With thunder in the background and Rifugio Pramperet right in front of us. Short day, even though it felt a bit longer, but it's a beautiful day. Not sure why people stopped before this. I really enjoyed it. I think it's just before 2 o'clock now, so time for a nice little lunch. Some good pasta, I think, something warm. And then enjoy the rest of the day and just chill out. And on to the last day tomorrow.
After a long, sweaty, navigationally questionable kind of day, we made it. Rifugio Pramperet, remote, quiet, tucked into the mountains like hiding from its responsibilities. It felt like a reward just getting here. No roads, no tourists, just hikers who had actually earned this place. We dropped our bags like we were just defusing a bomb, beeline to the terrace and ordered cold drinks. Cold being a relative term, this Rifugio didn't have ice. But you know what? When you're this dehydrated, anything below body temperature is basically a miracle. The views, outrageous. Probably a top 3 of the whole AV1.
Cheers to day 7, done and dusted. And amazing views. I was waiting for this all day.
Then came the reality check. Showers. €3 for 2 minutes. Yep. I don't know what hurt more, the time limit or how fast I used it up, trying to remember how to turn the thing on. No private rooms either, back to bunk beds. But good news, only one other couple in our dorm. Even better news, no snorers. Truly a blessing. Pramperet isn't just a refugio, it's a reward. It's remote, wild and quiet in a way that's hard to describe. No roads, no cell signal, no chance of getting an Uber. Just you, the mountains, and maybe a few others who decided not to quit early. After the world's most efficient 3-year shower, we returned to the terrace, freshly rinsed and slightly traumatized by the time limit. With the stunning view in front of us and the hardest part of the day behind us, I did what only sensible person would do. I ordered a half-liter jug of house wine for just €6. And yes, I drank the whole thing. Don't judge me, this place had no ice, but it had standards. We spent the rest of the evening reading, practicing some Dutch, and just watching the sky put on a show. The sun set behind the mountains like a wildfire rolling through the clouds. Golden reds, deep purples, the kind of sunset that makes you stop talking mid-sentence. And I remember thinking, this is why we hike. This is why we didn't stop at day 6. Pramperet wasn't easy to reach, but standing there, wine in hand, tired but full, it felt like exactly where we were supposed to be. It's 6 a.m, the air is crisp, our legs are tired, and the trail, it has 20 kilometers left to throw at us. Today is the final day of the Alta Via 1 journey, and while we'd love to take it slow, there's a bus to catch, and a thunderstorm chasing us down the mountain. So we pack up quietly, step out of Rifugio Pramperet, and hit the trail one last time. One last climb, one last coffee, one last are we lost moment? Well, hopefully. Let's finish what we started.
Day 8 of the Alta Via 1. Last day. Early morning start. It's going to be a long day today. 17 kilometers to the finish. There might be a storm coming in later, so we woke up a little bit early. I woke up at about 5:30. It's about 6 now. So we're going to get started and hopefully we'll find a bus or a taxi or something to take us to town. But yeah, last day, bittersweet. It's been a long, beautiful day. A long, beautiful trip rather, and yeah, I'm gonna miss these mountains. It's been, of course, a bit of tough, bit of exercise, bit of sweat, but worth it in the end.
The trail started gently, but that didn't last long. Soon we were climbing, switchbacks, loose rocks, and a long ridge looming above us. The views, absolutely stunning.
Sweating.
But then came the wind. It picked up fast, and for the first time on this trip, I actually felt cold. Wind jacket on, hood up, and still chill in the air and nerves in my stomach. The final ridge was ahead of us. It was narrow, exposed, and dramatic. We were walking a spine of rock with nothing but sky and drop-offs on either side. In bad windy weather, this is terrifying. If you're planning this hike, be careful here. Take your time and check the forecast. But crossing it, unreal. A proper main character moment. After the ridge, the trail calmed down, and we were rewarded for our early start with something special: complete silence, golden light, and clouds below us.
That section was quite tough. can see now why some people wanted to stop a bit earlier, because going over that ridge, or whatever you want to call it, is quite scary, especially if there's a bit of wind. Actually the first time I've got a bit chilly as well. But yeah, we've finished now the major climb of the day. We're hoping for a Rifugio, but haven't seen one yet. We'd love a cup of coffee right now. Anyway, if we don't find it, we'll stop for our own little packed breakfast later, then make our way to our lunch stop at the next Rifugio. We'll make it work. But yeah, it's on the chillier side today, but still beautiful. It's actually nice hiking up that hill when it's a bit cooler and not too hot. Onwards we go. The hunt for coffee continues.
We found a spot to sit and had our packed breakfast from Rifugio Pramperet. Honestly, the best breakfast view of the entire trip. No restaurant could ever compete with this. After that magical breakfast moment, we were feeling good, energized, inspired, slightly windblown. And then we made a fateful decision. Let's get a coffee at the next Rifugio. Sounds simple, right? Except the next Rifugio wasn't exactly around the corner. What we thought would be just maybe an hour turned into 2. We kept following the trail, contouring around the mountain, passing through alpine meadows and stony ridgelines. No Rifugio in sight. Eventually, finally, Rifugio Pian de Fontana came into view, perched into a small green bowl beneath the cliffs. At this point, we didn't want a full lunch, we just needed 2 things: water and coffee. This is where a lot of hikers sleep their final night. It shortens the final day by a lot, but it means your day 7 would have been long and brutal. With water bottles refilled and caffeine flowing through our veins, we continued down into the forest. The final chapter of our AV1 adventure was about to begin. Leaving Pian de Fontana, we started descending, which, after 8 days of uphill battles, felt like a gift. But in true Alta Via 1 fashion, the trail had other ideas. Every descent came with a surprise uphill, like it was trying to squeeze in just a few more climbs before letting us go. The terrain shifted quickly. We entered a dense forest where the humidity hit us like a wall. Sweat dripping, legs aching, and that wonderful smell of pine needles and wet earth all around us. The trail twisted, rolled, and dipped. Honestly, it felt like we were in some kind of hiking limbo. Almost done, but not quite. Eventually, the forest opened up, and like an oasis in the woods, Rifugio Bianchet appeared.
A bittersweet moment. We arrived at Rifugio Bianchet, and this is the last Rifugio on the Alta Via 1. We'll stop here for a quick lunch, something to drink. It's been a beautiful day so far. The section between Pramperet and whatever the next one was, it's really amazing. You wouldn't want to skip that for the world. If you can do it early morning, if the weather is okay, go and do it. Be safe, but it's a beautiful section. The rest of the day so far has been like in the forest. Really been nice, mate. Slowly but steady downhill. And now it's lunchtime. last Rifugio, and let's grab a last good beer on the Alta Via 1. Almost there.
We dropped our bags, found a table and ordered our final Rifugio meal of the trip, gnocchi and a cold beer.
Cheers. In the Alta Via.
If you've ever wondered what satisfaction tastes like, it's this moment right here.
That is good.
We toasted to the trail, to our legs, and to the fact we were almost done.
The last Rifugio on the Alta Via, and of course you have to finish with the Italian beer. Glorious.
With full bellies and slightly wobbly legs, we started the final stretch of the Alta Via 1. My watch said 6 kilometers, but I swear it felt closer to 9. And that last section was not the easy downhill kind either. My knees were screaming and every corner made me think, this must be the end, right? It wasn't. And then, through the trees, we saw it. A road. Cars, civilization. The end. We had reached the bottom. After 8 days, 120 kilometers and one final mental battle. The trail was behind us. We walked the final stretch down the busy road to the bus stop. It felt surreal, like walking out of a dream and back into reality. And then we waited, a long, tired, peaceful wait, before boarding the bus to Belluno. Over the last 8 days, I crossed over 120 kilometers, climbed more than 6,500 meters of elevation, and saw some of the most beautiful mountains and lakes I've ever laid eyes on. My legs are tired, my skin is sunburnt, I'm dehydrated, and somehow I've never felt more alive. I hiked through storms and sunshine, laughed through pain, shared stories with strangers, and ate pasta at the edge of the world. This wasn't just a trek, it was a journey, and one I'll never forget. Now, most people will finish the Alta Via 1 and head home, but us, we weren't ready to stop. So we rented a car and stayed for another 3 nights. And for the first time in 8 days, I slept in a real bed, with sheets and pillows and a proper shower. It was emotional. We based ourselves at a charming little B&B and explored more of the Dolomites by car. Those windy roads, unreal. We visited lakeside town of Aleja, ate incredible food and drove some of the most scenic passes in the region, like Passagao and yes, back to Lagazoi. We even walked through a gorge wearing a ridiculous hat, because why not? And just when we thought we'd seen it all, we did one more hike and found a lake so beautiful, so perfect, I still don't believe it's real. But those stories are for another day. Eventually we made our way back to Venice, walked the canals, ate some amazing seafood, and slowly transitioned back to reality. Flying home, I knew one thing for sure, I'll be back. There are more peaks to climb, more trails to follow, and a lot more pasta to eat. For now, these memories will stay with me. My heart is full, my soul is happy. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Dolomites. Like, comment and subscribe if you want more stories, hikes and adventures that are already on the way. Until next time, keep exploring.